From the outset I want to make it clear that when I bring up this topic I do not mean to offend Muslims. I'm studying the Quran and its history at the moment, and I have some questions. Uncomfortable questions in the same vein I have had when it came to the Bible in my past videos. When one mentions the Islam and the Satanic verses, one thinks of Salman Rushdie, but his novel is based on something much older, the Quran itself. Notable Islamic scholars in the dawning age of Islam accepted its authenticity, but today's scholars reject it. The controversy regarding these verses is so volatile that many lay Muslims do not know anything about it because it has been redacted out of their Qurans, and because it is not taught in their masjids. The story tells of how Mohammad, in order to gain the support of the rival tribe in Mecca who opposed him, worships 3 pagan Meccan deities, saying that their worship is compatible with the Muslim conception of a monotheist God. The problem which existed for Mohammad, who was hated in Mecca because he railed against polytheism, was solved through this accommodation. I have included some useful links with the full passage on the site along with a Muslim response. After reading the response, I'm still left with a few questions. If this story never happened, but was based on fiction, why would a faithful observant Muslim like al-Tabari include it? It would seem reasonable to think that al-Tabari did not include all the information going around Arabia about Muhammad. He does not interview Muhammad's enemies to get their side of the story. So why would he include a story if there was no factual basis to it? When you discuss with observant Muslims, they always tell you that Muhammad, peace but not war be upon him, was a prophet, that the Quran is a miracle which is perfect not only on a theological level, because it corrects the corruptions found in the Bible, but because it is scientific. Their views are very much like those of Calvinists, in that they are axiomatic, they presuppose they are right, but unlike the Calvinists they issue a challenge. They say that if anyone can produce a work like it, then it would invalidate it, but since no one has been able to replicate it, this is proof of revelation from God. Now I can't read Arabic, and this is partly why I'm making this video, because Muslims contend that only the Arabic Quran is pure and a genuine miracle, given that God speaks Arabic. So, on to my questions. First, if God inspired the Quran, and he is the only God, why would God inspire his prophet to pray to non-existent deities, especially considering that these deities were evil in his sight? Second, if the Quran is a miracle from God, the only true God, why did Muslims later redact the Satanic verses? Is it not a sin against God to alter his word? I also have another question, relating to modern Muslims themselves. Considering this passage, why did so many views develop surrounding it? They seem so disparate and vary to such a degree, from some claiming it is apocryphal to others saying it's genuine, that it seems one cannot make any decision unless it is based on scholarly authority, essentially forcing us to take the modern scholars at their words and ignore the early scholars. Modern Muslims hold this passage as not being part of the Quran. To me it seems they do so, because by delegitimizing it, you can completely ignore the question, but the earliest Muslims didn't delegitimize it, they tried to rationalize it and explain it. So my question is not if we have a history in the Muslim community of interpreting this passage in various ways which have evolved to today completely ignoring it and refusing to address its content. How could this passage have been false? Are modern Muslims more inspired or less fallible in interpreting the Quran as opposed to their brethren who lived a lot closer to Muhammad's time? If so, why? If the Quran is God's word, should it not stand on its own authority without the help of any mortal fallible human beings? Thank you.